Ted Blom from eco.co.za from the company Eco joining us. Hello to you, Ted. Happy New Year to you. But Eskom wants more money, but they can't keep the lights on. Do they deserve it?
No.
Why not?
The inefficiency is still continuing and they're still captured. On the efficiency side, they've now acknowledged that they have a surplus of, off the record, 30,000 people. My numbers are 35,000 people.
So their numbers aren't even right?
Their numbers are totally topsy-turvy. 2 in 3 people don't belong there. And they also have messed up their coal procurement plan. And even though they're now standing at 29 days, the fact of the matter is, in 11 years, they haven't opened up one single mine, and they need to open up at least 20. So I think, given that background, combined with the fact that the Public Protector's report, the Denton's report, the parliamentary report have all indicated, and Eskom itself has fingered itself 30 times in its annual report on corruption, and we're still waiting for results. We haven't seen proper recoveries, and we haven't seen anybody prosecuted.
I'm so glad you raised it, because I was about to say, they seem to be well aware of their own in-house problems, yet certainly on the face of it, no one seems to know how to get on top of it.
Absolutely. I said in my press release that Eskom is rudderless, and the reason it's rudderless is it's got a board that has been there for 12 months. They haven't been able to produce a turnaround plan. Then Minister Pravin Gordhan intervened, which shows that even he seems to have problems with the way that Eskom is being run. And now, on top of it, in the last 3 weeks, we've had the President appoint the 8 wise men to intervene again on top of Minister Gordhan. So I think Eskom's rudderless, and if it carries on like this, it's going to sink the whole country by March.
I was about to say, what kind of timeline are we working on here? We'll come back to the timeline in a moment, Ted. The problem is Eskom is now going through to NERSA. They want more money. But if I'm not mistaken, and I want to quote the NERSA chairman, Jacob Modise, saying this is some time ago, that they're going to investigate, they may initiate an investigation into governance failure. So the very organization that Eskom needs to go to beg for money, that's what they're doing. They're begging for money.
Absolutely.
Doesn't think they're doing a good job.
Absolutely, and that's come out over the last 10 years. Initially, it started off as a murmur, and I think it's now a resounding cry from NERSA that Eskom needs to get its house in order, because the regulations are very clear. Only an efficient organization is entitled to a tariff increase. So Eskom is totally inefficient, it's corrupt, it's still got leaking buckets all over the show, and I can't understand on what basis now, whilst they're still busy trying to put together a turnaround plan, they want 60%, because if you add the 15 to the 4 that they've already been given on the RCA account, it's 20% a year for the next 3 years.
What's an RCA account? I'm sorry, it's a regulatory clearing account. What does that mean?
Okay, so in plain old Afrikaans, that's the agterskot. So Eskom ran its budget over the years, it's under-recovered, and whatever the shortfall was in recoveries from tariff sales or whatever, that's the amount that they lob onto the next year's tariff.
So basically they're loading on, like buying a new car, you're loading onto the vehicle.
Yes.
Let me give you Eskom for the next year. Ted Blom, you are the new man in charge. You can make all the calls. What are the first three things that you do? Eskom is yours, go.
Okay, so if one was given the proper authority, the first thing you need to do is appoint a task force. Eskom is a big organization. Even when I was there in the 80s, it was a big organization. 1 man or 3 men cannot turn the organization around. So you need to bring in a task force of advisors, about a dozen or so, and allocate them divisions, and then they need to go back to the benchmarks that Eskom adhered to previously. Because only by going back to the benchmarks and reinstating those performance standards have you got any chance of fixing up Eskom. Forget about looking at the future, forget about being a high-tech utility or whatever.
These holes.
Fix up the holes first, and then you can start looking forward. Until that's done, it's not possible. And as a consequence of that, they would need to revisit the coal procurement plan, which they hired me to do in 2006. And we published the plans, and they ignored them. You know, they acknowledged them, said they're going to open 40 new mines, opened 0. I mean, it's unbelievable. And then the maintenance needs to be reinstated. And I think with the reinstated maintenance and coal, there's a chance. Obviously, the headcount will have to be sorted out. There's a chance of reviving Eskom.
Because we know the maintenance is an ongoing issue. We've spoken about Eskom being at a crisis stage for a number of years now. At what point do the lights literally go out at Eskom? At what point do they plunge this country and the economy and its people and its future plans and possibly elections, Ted Blom, into complete and utter catastrophe?
If there's not drastic intervention and measurable action before the end of March, I think it's all over.
By March. Ted Blom, thank you very much for coming in. No doubt we're going to speak again. I appreciate the frank discussion.